Hello, I'm Lisa Harrison, and today is Thursday I really should know that, 20th, I think, 20th of February. And today I'm talking with Wendy Adams from Lightwaves Radio. Welcome, Wendy.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you.
It's so nice to be able to finally talk to you for everyone else to enjoy hearing your point of view. Because you and I do get the opportunity to have quite a few good chats, but nothing's been shared publicly yet, really. And I know that we're on the same page on a lot of points in regards to what's happening spiritually and energetically at the moment. And just wanted to get an update from you, really, on what you feel's going on at the moment, in particular. Over the last few weeks, it's been energetically just off the charts. For me personally, since Christmas Day specifically, as you know all about. And so, I mean, we seem to agree on some fundamental points, which is, and I know we've got different terminology for it, but this whole concept for me that we are becoming one, that the veils between dimensions are thinning, and we're stepping into a space of pure love and out of duality. Well, at least the extremes of duality that we've been experiencing, I think they're going from, love and hate to just preferences of preferences. Are you on the same page there with me?
I definitely am. And the veil definitely has been lifting. This is, a process to this actually occurring. And we are seeing so many shifts in the energy, and many people are feeling it. I know I'm feeling it as well. And they're experiencing so many changes. And what I believe is happening is that we are receiving spirit or energy from a higher realm or a higher angel, whichever terminology you prefer. But we're receiving that is coming down into us, into our bodies that are housing our souls. And it's basically evolving us, and that's why I'm calling it the evolution of humankind, because it's something that we've never known before. And it's important for people to know, because there are a lot of side effects that happen, because when you're receiving this energy that you've never had before, your body isn't used to it, first of all. And the one thing that seems to be happening the last couple of weeks, and I noticed it first happening last October. I think we talked about it on the show together briefly.
Sorry.
But yeah, definitely what people are noticing and telling me, and like I said, I first noticed it last October, is a huge burst of energy coming into them. And they feel so wide awake, so energized. Many are just like off the charts, just, feel like they could just go run 5 miles. So much energy in them. And then what happens is like within a few seconds, there's like a crash. And it's literally like, I call it like almost like a countdown for like a rocket, because this is how I describe it. It's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it's like liftoff. And what happens is your body actually goes to a deep sleep state. You may appear to be passed out to people. You might be hard to wake up. But what I believe actually happens is you've gotten so much energy into you that it lifts you, and it kind of like takes you right out of your body, and it literally takes you to a point where you reach where the veil has lifted, and it allows you to access what I call the collective consciousnesses. And basically you can access the ability to be conscious, access your subconscious and unconscious all at once. And the reason that I say that is because the unconscious mind is known to have like your long-term memory, and it's known to be like the storehouse for your memories. Total recall is in the unconscious mind. So like if someone is in a coma, they can recall, for example, minute by minute, a childhood birthday party or an event, and they just have that total recall. Then with the actual conscious mind, that's when you're in the here and now, and you have the awareness of your surroundings and what's within your body. And then, of course, the subconscious mind, many who meditate go there often, because that's where there is infinite wisdom and knowledge and infinite power. And you get to access all of these, and you get the total recall of it. And that's why I call all three of them on like a 3-zone of collective consciousnesses, and that's where you reach.
Well, Christmas Day, I had no conscious awareness. I was literally gone. Even though I was walking around, I was apparently saying things. I think I was saying the same thing over and over again about timelines, but and then I would come back very briefly and sort of take in my surroundings, ask how long I'd been gone for, and then I'd be gone again. And I did not, once I was back for good, I didn't have any conscious recall of where I'd been, of what I'd been doing. It was all very, very, very vague. But since then, I have been able to, I guess, stay in more conscious. I don't leave altogether anymore, which is good. And yet, yes, there is this the feeling of being able to hold on to what's going on. Like the other day, I walked into the hallway. I felt absolutely fine. Just walked out of my bedroom door, walked into the hallway, and as I'm looking down the hall, suddenly I'm having this Matrix moment where it looks like the Matrix walls, you know, that running script of text or numbers just was screaming past me down the hallway. And I knew it was all this timeline stuff again. You know, like we just condensed into even fewer numbers. The three was what was running through my head. It was like 3 timelines had just sort of come into focus. And, you know, the energy that goes through my body is just intense. I feel like I could, you know, blow things up by projecting it. And I'm still having, you know, quite a bit of that go on. And I know that, and certainly being knocked out, I was sitting here working the other day and just, okay, I've got to go now. You know, from wide awake to sound asleep in a moment, and I sleep for 4 or 5 hours. I had to be woken up for dinner. Doing a radio show, sitting next to Brian, and you know, 1 minute he's there multitasking as he always does. You know, he's got the phone and the radio show, and he's on Facebook, and then he just goes, "Oh, I think I have to lay down," and he's gone. I'm completely unconscious. And 45 minutes later, I try to wake him up and say, you know, are you with me? And he's like, I've got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that was it. He was gone again. And he doesn't remember saying that. And he doesn't remember where he was. He just had that sense of being busy.
Exactly. And you know, this began happening to me, like I said, last October. And there wasn't the total recall part of it until it had been happening to me for a couple of months. And so, and I really think that it just depends as to how much energy you have and to where you actually lift off or access when you do go to that state of mind. Because I didn't have recall of the first few times that it happened to me. And then I was like, you know what? I'm noticing a pattern. I'm noticing how I'm feeling right before it happens. I feel amazing. Just, wow, great, incredible. It's just so much energy. And then you start to know when you're going to crash. And so what I started to do is like, you know what, like this happened like 4 or 5 times now. I know when it's about to happen. Let me see if I can try to find out, you know, where it is I'm going, what's happening. Mm-hmm. And so what I did is I kept saying to myself, I want to remember everything. I'm going to remember everything. And I remember even just like barely making it to the bed and just falling asleep. Right, like I think I fell asleep before I even hit the bed.
Yeah.
But that was the last thing I remember saying to myself is I'm going to remember every bit of this. And then I did. And then I noticed that from that point on, if I do that every time, I was remembering it. But you're right, and I believe that we have the ability when we get to that state to receive that infinite knowledge. And I know, like on your shows, you had Darius on one time where he was mentioning experience that he had, which I thought was awesome. And he was talking about receiving information on building a spaceship. And people are like, well, that's kind of crazy. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because if you're literally reaching the subconscious mind where there's infinite wisdom and knowledge, why wouldn't that be possible?
Well, the thing for me, the journey that I've been personally on is, you know, all of the information about ascension and about 2012 and what was the evolution of what we're going through was based on the premise that we were going to leave our bodies, or that our bodies were going to somehow lighten and we were going to ascend and become these fifth dimensional beings and what have you. And it wasn't until I interviewed Michael Monk, which I'm not even sure how long ago that was now, beginning of 2012 maybe, that he flipped it all on its head for me. And it's like, no, these energies are all coming down, yes. Being again, up and down perspective. But into the physical body. We are bringing it all here.
Right.
And that actually was so much more in alignment with my own personal experiences. And now what's been going on over the course of the last year, and particularly since Christmas Day, is absolutely the evidence of that. My physical body is changing. My eyes are changing. This energy is being poured in. We are getting more information when we have these. I kind of feel lame using words like downloads and stuff, but I guess that's what they are. I mean, they're just these moments,
enlightening experiences,
and with incredible information coming in, and it seems to me more and more at will now. I can tune into someone and get a whole story around them, their history, their past lives, their potentials, their futures, their possible timelines, all that sort of stuff, and it's becoming easier and easier to do, and I'm more and more conscious of it. Except for myself, can't tell you anything about myself. Can't see a thing. What is with that?
That seems to be the case with many people who are intuitive. They can tell you everything about everybody else, but when it does come to them, they're so connected, and it is harder for them to read themselves, and they'll be able to do bits and pieces of it, but not usually the entire. And it's for a reason. I believe that.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right on, and there are so many changes that people are experiencing too, with the eye color changes that you're just mentioning, and people are also experiencing flu-like symptoms and things of that nature. And what I believe is happening is we had previously kind of an old process to how things worked, and it stopped working. And so a change had to be made, is what I believe to be what happened. And what's communicated to me that has happened is that now, like you said, we're not going up, it's coming down into us, the ascension. And in order to prepare us for that, we have to go through what's called like a balancing. Previously, in the old way it worked, you had to balance lightness and darkness within you. And now it's changed last year to where we don't have to have that specific kind of balancing. It's not necessary anymore, because what's done is like a total balancing to you. And the way that it worked before was that you would kind of work off in like this particular life anything that you had to from the previous life. So people are experiencing a lot of different things when this balancing is occurring in them. So if you haven't had a lot of lives, being balanced may be a breeze for you and quick. But if you have a lot of energy, a lot of issues that you have to resolve, you've got to work through that before you're balanced. Mm-hmm. And so people are going to have symptoms, because when you change, we have to change everything has to change within us so that we can take part in the changes everywhere, because we're all connected and it is all one.
Yeah, well, it does seem to be happening at a cellular level.
Yeah, and people are like, well, I'm being attacked, or I feel like it's this, or I feel like it's that. And you know what, more than likely, if it's not like a medical thing causing it, you're probably being balanced. And you may have feelings of pain where you're going to take the darkness and stuff out to equal so that you're balanced. You're going to have to experience something. And it may be different for each person. And people that have had, a lot of light, it may be much easier for them. Like I said, less lives, it may be easier for them. Those that have lived more, it's going to be harder for you to go through.
So those who are termed the old souls, or the masters, and
right,
they're going to have a hard time.
Exactly. And this is like something I was starting to explain, like I think it was on the show that we did in November, and like you need to be ready for that. It doesn't mean that people are after you. It doesn't mean people are hunting or harming you. What it is that you're being balanced so that you're ready for the changes that's happening throughout the universe, what's happening with a veil lifting. You can't bring what's up down into us and not expect that we need to adjust in our bodies to work with it. It's just impossible. We're not used to that kind of energy. We have to be brought to a level or balance so that we can. And it can come into us, and it can. And this should be a beautiful thing. And I think that, if you just all in the attitude, if you accept it with love and know that this is what's happening, this is what the Creator's plan is, this is what's meant to be, it'll be easier for you. The ones that are fighting it are the ones that are going to have more of an issue.
So we really are bringing heaven to earth.
We are, exactly. It really, truly is.
I mean, the I don't know, evolution? I don't know what to call it. that I've seen since being on the road with the Opal tour and coming here to Morocco, and how people have just expanded.
Their hearts are just open.
Unbelievable. It's so beautiful. And just one by one, watching people step into a space of pure love. And I'm lucky in that every week I get to talk about it on the radio shows and sort of see the journey and share the journey and give a platform for people to express theirs and watch their evolution. And it's just been incredible. And seeing people, how much they've let go of, and me too, let go of so much. And I can see so much fear is predominantly being let go of. That the world's going to hell in a handbasket kind of attitude that was really prevalent at the beginning of last year is, for many, is gone. And they're very, very hopeful. And we're seeing the breakdown of dysfunctional relationships. We're seeing, and people stepping into some really, really beautiful, positive relationships. Or expanding their whole social and relationship environment. It's just been amazing.
It has, and that's just it. It's given people the courage to make the changes that they need to realize that if something is negative, they don't have to subject themselves to that. They can find the love and the peace that they need, and they have to be in tune with themselves. They have to love themselves enough. And before you can truly love someone else, you have to reach that spot within you, because that's the key. Love is key. And it's interesting because, one of the things that previously that people would want to do is they would want to fight. They would want to, just rebel against everything. And like the message that just keeps coming to me, is really truly the way to defeat an enemy is to just truly love them.
Yep. I've seen that time and time again.
Yeah.
And how that just diffuses.
Exactly. I mean, love is so important to this, and the other thing I want to say is like that, if there's anyone else that doesn't agree with that, I have to say why. What could possibly be wrong with that? If you're in a position that you can't say that that could be true or that you could agree with that, I've got to say then you probably haven't felt love, because I can't say that anybody would ever say anything against feeling that way. And with the changes that are happening, more and more people are just capable of unconditional love. And I know that we've talked about that many times, and it does exist, and it is true, and it's happening. We're seeing it in more and more people. People are just truly coming together, and togetherness is definitely one of the keys, and we have to do that. We have to make all of our actions and all of our words come from our heart center. It has to come from love.
So where do you see us in 3 months or 6 months, and what's important to get us there?
I do see is the changes are going to keep happening. What I've been told is going to happen is there are going to be 3 very specific energetic events that are going to occur this year that are going to also assist in the veil lifting more. And I see that more and more people are going to be awakened. What I'm seeing now, and I'm going to continue to see, I know that for a fact, is people contacting me, or just in general, people, I should say, are awakening. They're kind of feeling a connection to their past. They're remembering who they are. They're remembering what their purpose for coming here is. And a lot of them are saying, you know what, like, I know I'm an ancestor of this person, or like they're remembering their family trees, and they're also remembering memories of the different lives. And I think this is all part of the balancing, so we're going to see more and more of that as more people are balanced. I see good things. I see, there are going to still be changes in the world, with, unfortunately, there's still going to be things with the economy, and there's still going to be more storms and things of that nature, but I'd rather focus on the good, which is what I see happening with the balancing and love everywhere. And I do see the end result being beautiful. And that's just like what I want to keep focusing on, is the positive end results.
Yeah, to me it's a done deal. We get there. This is not up for debate anymore. We're not hanging in the balance. It's done.
It is. It's There's nothing I can do, you could do, that anybody out there could do to stop what's happening. It's already started, and it's the Creator's will. I'm not sure, what terminology you want to use for that, but it is meant to be, and it is going to happen, and we can't stop it. What we can do is embrace and accept it, because it is a beautiful thing. I don't understand, those who are hesitant to kind of have a change, but I do kind of, in a way, I suppose, because what's happened is, from a very young age, we're taught specific things, whether it be from our parents, from our teachers. In a way, it's almost like a programming, because it's been told to us so often. And what's happening now is all the changes that are going on is proving all the things that we were taught regarding this as being wrong. And people are really kind of lost right now, because everything they knew has just changed.
Yeah.
And I understand that's scary for some. And what I'm saying is that people out there are searching. They're trying to find answers, like, what I've known is just gone. What do I do? What's happening? What is this all about? And they're reaching out to everybody. They're reaching out to every spiritual teacher they know. They're reaching out to all the different spiritual radio shows. They're doing their own research. They're trying to figure it out. And that's a good thing. And I encourage people to always, go with, check every source that you want to, and then just go with what resonates true in your heart to you. And keep searching, because we already know here what's happening, but until people feel it and resonates true to them in their heart, they won't accept it. And so I do encourage people to get out there and to do their research and listen to everybody, and then go with what resonates true to you from what they're saying. That's my suggestion.
So for those people who are experiencing these episodes of downloads, again, for want of a better word,
right?
What advice do you have in order to make it a little bit gentler, because it can be incredibly discombobulating? I'll use a Bob word.
Absolutely, it is. It's confusing, and the first time it happened to me, I was scared. I'll be honest. I was like, what is going on? But now that I think the awareness is the key, and knowing this is what's happening and why it's happening, they can also take solace in the fact that I haven't seen an upgrade or anything like this take more than 3 days at one time. In my experience over the last year, it hasn't. So it is going to be like a couple of day kind of a thing. Some people may be shorter, but it won't be no longer than that 3-day time per time it happens to you.
So you said the word upgrade. So when these episodes of this information, or you're getting knocked out or whatever, you're saying it's actually an influx of more light, more of you coming in.
More energy, more spirit, more knowledge. I'm saying, time and time again, even people that I, always, believe would be off the charts intelligent, blown me away with some of the things that they're coming up with. And it's incredible that being able to access that, that subconscious zone where the infinite knowledge is it's educating people. And that's why I kind of do say it is a bit of an upgrade, because you're receiving more of everything possible. You're receiving more light, more energy, you're receiving more knowledge. And yes, of course, you do have to sleep, or whatever symptoms you may have to incur during that brief period of time. But afterwards, it's you've evolved, and so it's a beautiful thing. So I don't know if you want to call it upgrade or evolving. They both apply.
What we would term the higher self was something that I used to have to go into a deep meditation to feel connected to. But now I just call it Big Lisa. Big Lisa and Little Lisa. And she's right here all the time. Yes. It's consistent, and there is no separation anymore.
No, there isn't.
And when Darius was having his episode, he looked around the room. Mind you, he was physically looked to be asleep at the time, but he right. Looked around the room and he was seeing everybody in connection with their higher self. And he actually saw Big Lisa just literally standing on top of my head. With Brian, it was like they were side by side within him, and there was this schism in the middle. And saw Bob more as this huge empty vessel. whose job it was to ground. So he saw the connection between the three of us as this triad, and I bring the information and the energy in. Bob grounds it. Brian broadcasts it, balances it and broadcasts it.
Exactly. And all three are just as important, equally, but you're right, together. Amazing.
And I feel like there's also, we're one of many of these groups, these triads, and the numbers 3, 6 and 9 came up as well, as if groups of 3, 6 or 9 people were important to work together.
Yes.
And have you got anything to add to that in terms of what you've experienced or people who are coming to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Those numbers are coming in alignment with what you're saying as well. A lot of people are working in those alignments. Those numbers are very important too. I mean, throughout history in the Bible, those numbers are important as well. And because I remember talking to a gentleman last year on one of the shows that I did, and he was saying time and time again, numbers 3, 6, and 9, and I didn't really pay much attention to it, but I noticed that, like, in the visions that I would have, and there's a connection to the numbers. In everything that would happen in light, there was a connection to it. So definitely.
There's a famous Tesla quote. He said something about if science understood the numbers 3, 6, and 9, they would understand creation or understand the universe and how it works.
Right.
So
it is that important.
Yeah, so I guess if you're feeling drawn to particular individuals, go with it.
Absolutely. You know, and definitely, and because one of the things that I know that I've heard you say and I've said as well is that I don't have all the answers, but together we all have a little bit. It's like a piece of a puzzle, or, you know, but together we make a whole. And so I'm always encouraging people, if you talk to someone else, you know what, take a moment, ask them some questions. It doesn't matter, you know, what walk of life they're from. It just doesn't matter. They have a piece of the puzzle, and you may help each other in a way that you just could have never imagined. So never discount anyone. Just always know that there's something important about every single person out there. You know, we are all, you know, connected. We are all of the Creator. We're all part of. And, you know, never ever look down or say, you know, this person's homeless and doesn't have anything to offer. Never. I mean, everyone is just as important, and you need to love everybody, respect everybody, and know that they have a piece of knowledge that's very important within them. And when we all do get together and share these pieces, that's when we do have a completed puzzle.
It reminds me of, I think it's the Celestine Prophecy books that came out in the 90s. And they talked about every interaction, every person you meet has a message for you, and you for them. And not to discount anybody, or not to see, not to see anything as insignificant. There are no ordinary moments.
No, definitely not. And, you know, it's very synchronistic with the way all of this has been happening. There is no coincidence to this either. I mean, and this is, you know, definite. This is what's meant to be. This is what's going to be, and we're seeing it more and more. And, you know, and a lot of people are saying, well, you know, I'm not seeing it. It's not happening to me yet. And, you know, for that I have to say, you know what? Is that true? Are you seeing it and just discounting it? Because it is happening. And I do feel like it is going to come in your time. So if it hasn't, you're not experiencing it. If you are open to what's happening and you acknowledge that it is happening to others, then I do feel like it's just going to be an awakening that will happen in you as well.
Actually, I put a video out the other week about the divine plan versus the absolute plan, and you know, I'm surrounded by people who are getting knocked out and having these upgrades and getting downloads and, you know, whatever. And someone did put the comment in there that this is not happening to me, and it's not happening to anybody around me or anybody I know. I think you guys are probably all nuts. So it's like, I can't discount what is happening to me, you know, and for those around me. And I agree, it'll happen to everybody in their own time. Everyone seems to have their own trigger point for whether it's for waking up to the reality of the way the world works, the legal and banking system, or whether it's waking up to the spiritual nature of how things are actually operating here, or whether it's triggering this evolutionary process, I mean, I think we all have actually got our pre-planned points that we said, that's when it's going to happen for me, that's going to be my trigger.
Oh, exactly. And one of the things that I've noticed too is that, when it is happening to people, there is usually one specific person, I know you and I have talked about this, that is able to kind of be someone that can kind of ground your energy and find that person. They usually, the way that I've seen it happen is that you're going to connect some way, somehow. Even if you're on different continents, it doesn't matter. There's going to be a way that you're going to connect to that person. There's someone that has been, in my opinion, kind of designated to kind of work or walk alongside you during this process. And so some of you may be finding someone out there that, when you talk to them, they have a way of kind of calming your energy, and it just kind of just soothes a bit. So if you find, someone like that, I encourage you to just keep in contact with them, because I'm not sure the term. I mean, it's almost like there's been someone kind of pre-assigned to kind of work with you on it or to assist you. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, a deal was made somewhere along the line, wasn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this has been such a journey, I've got to say. It really has. It's been incredible and confusing, because, I mean, it's crazy because we're all in this situation, and we're just kind of getting little bits and pieces of it, and it's like we've come here and we don't have the remembrance of all of this, which we're getting in bits, like I'm getting in visions and everything of being on the other side before I came here, and kind of being told this is what's going to happen, and I just knew, like, the one thing that I even remember communicating back in, like, years ago, was that we all have to come together. Togetherness is just so important. I just like, that was instilled in me. It was so important. And I think a lot of people have like kind of messages like that are just kind of repeated to them over and over. They just have that feeling, that knowing. Pay attention to yourselves, because all the information you actually need is within you. Just like trust your heart and just let it guide you. It's just like the most important thing I can say on this. And when all else fails, if you're not liking the questions or the answers you're getting from everybody else, just look in your heart. It's there.
People are coming together in more ways than one. I mean, not that the media is reporting it, but we're at a point where there are protests and groups of people coming together all around the world in really large numbers, and they may not be coming together in love, but they are coming together around a common desire. Mm-hmm. And in really, really large numbers. I mean, the Ukraine's crazy right now.
Yes.
In Britain, I think that's a step. Even though it looks violent at the moment, and it looks like it's out of control and chaotic, it's the initial stages of bringing people together around a common theme, and it'll step into bringing them together out of love.
It will.
I don't see it as a negative thing.
Yeah, and I agree, and like, violence is never, in my opinion, the way, but you're right, just by them coming together and being in each other's energies, their force fields, they're going to be interacting, they're going to be awakening more and more, and even with not even realizing, like you said, that wasn't the purpose of their get-together or their gathering, it's still going to happen just by those events occurring. And I do feel that, more and more, it is going to become less violent. There is going to be a point where it's going to be, the key and the answer is to just love, and that is going to guide us and get us through it. That's what's going to stop all the wrong, all the negativity, all the evil going on out there. And that's just the way it is. Love is the one that's going to defeat, the enemy that you have.
I know that you the work that I've been doing with the One People's Public Trust over the last year and a bit, and seeing, I mean, for a lot of people who have come across that stuff, it's just a bunch of paperwork, but it never was that for me. It was that paperwork was symbolic of what had already taken place spiritually and energetically. And you just talked about, the evil coming to an end, and to me, through the work that was done for which they were just a representation, the energy to feed that is no longer there.
Exactly.
The tap was turned off. The pump was turned off. And you said earlier that you'll see financial disruption, and I agree completely. And I don't believe that's a bad thing, and that all has to change. I think we're moving completely away from these what we call representations of us and our value, and just dealing directly with one another on an energetic basis. And there's no reason to go into fear about whether or not money's still going to be there in 6 months or 12 months at all. It's a good thing. Wave to it on the way out.
Exactly. You're right. It's a start, and changes are coming. And yes, things are going to be different from how you know it to be. But you're right. At least it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Change is many, many times a good thing. And I do think that you're right. There is going to be a bit more. There's going to be more issues going on. It's not over yet. But the end result is going to be, a positive one. It's going to be more of a loving one. There will be a change for the better on that. So, I want to say it's kind of the calm before the storm on that, because it's not finished yet. But again, I like to focus on the end, because I know that's where the good is, and that's where it's going to eventually get to. And I don't want to spend any time dwelling on the bad. That's just a waste of our energy. We just need to know that the end result is where it's going. And yes, it may be a bumpy road along the way, but boy, when we get to the smooth road at the end, that's where there's going to be peace and love, and it's going to be a harmonious change.
Well, to me, by focusing on the negative, we're just prolonging its slow and painful death.
We are.
Yeah, you get what you pay energy into.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You get what you put out there into the universe. And so I just want to, choose love. That's the way to win, is to choose love and positive. We're seeing more and more people are talking to me, and they're saying and everything that what their thoughts are actually manifesting. And more with the changes that are happening, with more spirit coming into us, that is going to be a very real possibility. And so keep that in mind. If you're one of those people that love to sit there and just dwell on, the negativity of others and things like that, stop. Because you know what? You just might get what you wish for.
And it's happening faster and faster and faster.
Exactly. That's why, I'm going to just keep on focusing on the positive and focus on the good.
Do you know Thomas Hughes? You do, actually. He was on our Sasquatch guy. He was on
right. Yeah, I got to talk to him briefly.
But the Sasquatch told him something quite some time ago about our ability to manifest. The time between thought and manifestation was going to get down to 17 seconds. So you got to get a handle on it.
Oh, exactly. Yes. And the one thing that I want to say is that there are so many different groups out there, that many are, they love so many different things. They're in different groups, and normally you wouldn't think that they would all come to the same one conclusion. But like Tom with the Sasquatch people who watch the stars, even people who have a belief in worshiping the sun, whatever their different beliefs are, the one thing that every single group has been coming up with, and it's united, is that we all should be coming together and with love. And that can't be wrong if every single group out there is coming up with the same answers.
Absolutely.
There's something to it.
So, I know you've got something planned coming up in March with that in mind. You want to tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, we're going to have our first event, and it's with Lightwaves Radio, and we're working with the Free Your Faith organization. And we're going to have an event in Sedona, Arizona.
What's the Free Your Faith organization?
It's actually an organization that's just been started by Joe Lofgreen. And I'm going to actually probably have him on my show to talk more about it. I just found out a couple days ago that he's actually starting it. And really, it's something that he went on a journey, and he did a walk with Jesus. And I hate to tell his story for him, but just a little bit of I'll tell. But the message that he got from Jesus was that in his life and growing up, that religion was very restrictive to him, and religion should never feel restrictive to you. Religion should free you. And so he said that, there's going to be an event down the road in the future, and now I want you to call it the Free Your Faith. And so that's why he's, gone ahead, and now he's going to, eventually be starting up an organization. I believe he's just done it this week, and I don't have all the information on that, but it was literally a message that he received from Jesus when he did a walk with Jesus. So, I mean, what could be wrong with that?
So what's the event in aid of?
The event is what? I'm sorry?
What's the aim of the event?
The aim is going to be to bring a group of people together, and basically kind of what you guys have been doing. We're going to be probably doing some of the same things, and I'm hoping you can still switch your schedule so that you can come.
When is it again?
It'll be like the weekend of March 28th. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a group of people get together. We have a ranch rented for this to occur on. And it's going to be a very energetic event. It's going to actually take place on where a well-known vortex is. And if you guys have visited Sedona, I know you have, you can relate to the energy that's associated with being just near the vortex. And I don't have all like the specifics of it and everything, but I know that we're going to be all getting together. We're going to have a very wonderful energetic event that's going to happen, and it's about remaining positive and doing away with negative things. But it's going to be very loving and very light. And if you're interested in it, if you just go to, I guess, lightwavesradio.com, and you can email me on there if you want more information on it. And like I said, Lisa, I'm still hoping that you can switch things so that you can be there, because we'd love you to be there.
Oh, I'd love to be there. So you said before that you knew there were 3 big events, or 3 events,
right,
coming up in the future. This is the first?
This is the first. The next one will happen in May. And I've got to say, after each event, you guys are going to be noticing a big change energetically. I believe you're going to be feeling even more positive energy out there. And you're going to notice a change in what's happening to you as well with these periodical events of like liftoff that we were talking about earlier. Because as the veil lifts more and more after each of these events, you're going to be able to feel more, you're going to be able to see more, obtain more knowledge, and to just be more loving. It's just going to be a beautiful thing.
Sorry, because I'm thinking about all the little events that we've done over the last few months, and yeah, every time, that's the result.
It is, and that energy, like you said, it stays with you, and it does. And we're gonna, like I said, this one here in March that we're working on, we're gonna have some very, very strong, energetic people attending, and it's gonna be very, very, very important. It's imperative, and it's going to happen, and it's coming from love.
So when you've got your radio show, you've got these, which is lightwavesradio.com, do you consult with people as well?
Do I consult with them?
Yeah. Do you do one-on-one?
Yeah, a lot of people have asked to do I wouldn't really necessarily call it a reading. I guess it's more of like a connection. But yeah, I certainly can do that. And if someone wants to do that, they can email me at lightwavesradio@gmail.com. But yeah, I have talked to a lot of people and just kind of let them know what I'm seeing and what kind of impressions that I pick up, through talking with them. And I know that you kind of know my story, but going back to even being very, very young, I've always had abilities with being intuitive and with being able to communicate with those who have passed on, and so I'm able to help people in a lot of different ways. And
then you were struck by lightning.
It was, and then it just got even crazier and stronger and more enhanced and off the charts. Yeah. And like I was telling you earlier about, with being with the lightning and everything, that I was having a really hard time finding someone that could kind of ground my energy. And interestingly enough, the person that I found that could ground me was also struck by lightning. So it's just interesting.
Do you have the same effect on them?
I believe so, yes. And I've only talked to this person a couple of times, so I'll have to kind of explore that and see. But I think so. I think so. And it's funny because I was talking to that person's sister, and she's like, well, I can't believe, his energy's all over the place off the charts. How could he be kind of grounding and calming to you? I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's a lightning thing, but he is. So that's awesome. Well, one of the things that, people are really, really talking about are their dreams. They're having so many vivid dreams that they're actually like memories, and they're having a hard time differentiating between the past and the present. And what they're not understanding is that a lot of these dreams are actual real memories. They're remembering events that like occurred in their life, things that they've done. And again, this comes back to the balancing that we were talking about earlier, because there's usually a connection to something unresolved with that memory that you need to figure out to work out before the balancing. And that's kind of why I want to bring that up. So if you are having some unusual dreams or memories, start to write them down. And once you figure out what you need to resolve with that, it's going to speed up the balancing process. You're going to be balanced automatically, but that's just a way to kind of speed it up.
Okay, great.
So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Wendy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm so glad we got an opportunity to do this in a way that we can share it with others.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa. Have an amazing day.
You too, sweetheart. Talk to you soon.
All right.